Now, when valuation is considered, it is the process by which the estimated price of a specific real property at a specified time, place, and assuming a specific use or purpose can be worked out by considering the prevailing economic factors. This is the art of assessing the present fair value of property at a stated time. So basically, when valuation of property is considered, it is decided by its selling price, income, or rent it may get. When the value of property valuation of property is done, the value of the property is always dependent upon its structure, its life, maintenance, area or location where that structure or that building is situated or located, then the bank interest, legal control, etc. Okay, so this is a definition, or this is the valuation meaning. The next is the purpose of valuation. Okay, now when valuation process is carried out for any type of property, so there are different purpose. I think I will give you some 15 points. What are the purpose of valuation? First point will be consider when purchase for investment or the occupation is considered. That time valuation of the property is considered. Next is tax fixation. Now when we are considering we are residing in municipal area, or we are having any industrial complex in industrial area, at that time we have to pay some tax to the government. So for the fixation of that tax, the valuation is essential. So it is carried out by either the government authorities or municipal authorities, which depends upon the class of city or the trade importance. Next purpose is for the sale. When sale is considered, that time the valuation becomes necessary, which depend upon price that can be obtained in the market, and seller considers this amount as a reserve price below which any offer is not accepted to them. It means that when valuation of property is done for a sale at any instant of time or any time, that time whatever the market value is there for that structure in the present condition, below that the seller is not going to accept any offer for the sale of that property. Next purpose for the valuation may be rent fixation. Now when you have a property, either residential or commercial property, and you want to use that property for some sort of income by renting it, that time the valuation of the property is necessary for finding out the rent for that property. And it is usually required for fixing the standard rent of the property. Next purpose for the valuation is balance sheet. Sometimes a company requires valuation of its premises for the purpose of showing them in the balance sheet. So for that purpose, if the company is having some structure, some machineries, some equipments, company is going to carry out the valuation process for these things. So company is going to show the valuation of its premises. So that time the valuation is necessary. Next is insurance premium. When any kind of property is getting insured, that time to fix up the insured value of the property, excluding the cost of land, valuation is required in order to replace the same and thus find out the insurance premium. So, when we need to calculate the insured value of the property and to calculate the insurance premium, the valuation of the property is necessary. Next is mortgage value or security of the loan. So, whenever a company or any individual is going to get some loan from the bank or loan from any agency, that time some property should be put for the mortgage as a security of the or the security of the loan. So that time uh, the valuation process is necessary. Next is compulsory acquisition. A property may be acquired by government for public purpose, and in such case, compensation against such acquisition is given to the owner by the government. So, for that compulsory acquisition purpose, valuation is done. Next is speculation. In speculation, when the purchase is intended for the sale of the property and to make some profit in short period for which valuation is necessary, and such value is called as speculative value. So for the profit in short period of time, uh, the property is put for the sale, and within the short period we are going to earn some property after selling the property. That value is considered as speculative value, which is getting after the valuation of the property. Next is betterment charges. The value of the property may increase as a result of making of new road, developing of land, and by providing other amenities. So, to fix up betterment charges, uh, valuation becomes necessary before and after the completion of the development. So, if you are residing inside a society or inside a uh, township, that time if some kind of development is going on with that time the betterment charges are to be fixed. So that purpose the valuation is necessary. Next is court fees. Now during the some kind of disputes or during the buying or selling or renting of the property, that times when a case is to be filed with respect to a real estate, it is necessary to affix stamp of suitable amount. So, for this purpose, this amount is worked out after arriving at the value of the property which is under the dispute. So, for fixing up the stamp duties, the valuation is carried out. Next is wealth tax and estate duty. Now, when wealth tax and estate duty is considered, government fixes value that is minimum value of the property uh, for which wealth tax or estate duty shall have to be paid by the owner of the property. For this wealth tax and estate duty, the valuation is necessary. Next purpose for the valuation is gift tax. Now, when gift tax is considered, when a property is gifted by one person to other person, that time the valuation of gifted property is necessary to pay gift tax to the government by a person to whom the property has been gifted. Now, when a property by A person is gifted to B person, that time that B person has to pay a gift tax to the government. So, for fixing or calculating the gift tax, the valuation of the property which is to be gifted is to be done. Next is capital gain tax. When capital gain tax is considered, that time the taxation on capital gain is meant the gain realized when capital assets is disposed of and proceeds exceed the cost incurred in acquiring the asset. So this capital gain tax, for fixation of capital gain tax or calculating capital gain tax, the valuation is necessary. And the last purpose we can say is the partition. In case of partition or division, the market value of joint property has to be determined to divide the property according to the shares of the owner. If some person is owning a industry or owning a residential area, that time for the uh, division of the property according to the shares of the owner, the division is made. For such type of division, the valuation is done, and according to the valuation, the shareholders of the property are provided with their uh, part. So these are some purposes of the valuation. Now we will see three main things which are the main parts of valuation, that is price, cost and value. In previous examinations, questions on this point are asked as what is meant by value of a commodity, state four parameters or characteristics of a commodity should have to possess value, explain meaning of price, cost and value, what is difference between cost, price and value. So such type of questions are asked uh, into this point. Now first we will see the price. Now when price is considered, the price is amount worked out by adding the cost of production or construction, interest on investment, own profit, reward reward to producer for his labor and risk. Thus, the selling price is fixed for a commodity. For less price demand, selling price may have to lower and vice versa. Next is cost. The cost means original cost of construction or production and can be known after accounting all day-to-day expenditure from very planning stage till construction is completed. Cost of old building becomes less due to its age and changes in the current fashion. For valuation, cost of an old building is worked out from present cost of construction of such new building less the calculated amount of loss in building due to its wear and tear. Next is value. Uh, the value means its worth or utility. Value varies time to time and depends largely on supply of that particular type of property and extent of demand for it. The cost of construction of building may have no relation to the value of the same which sold in open market. The value mainly depends upon these three things. First, its utility. Second, shortage in supply or demand. And third, events. The value of property within short time may get double than the cost of construction when there are more buyers for that type of property and vice versa. So the price can get to the half if the buyers are less also. So it is clearly dependent upon the demand of the utility, demand of the property in the market, and the number of buyers. So value can increase within a short period, or value can decrease also within a short period. Now we'll see what are the different factors affecting the value of the property. First is change in the building technology. This is the main factor which is going to affect the value of the property. So when advanced and improved building techniques are arising, it is certainly resulting in the changes in the value of the building. Next is migration tendency. Due to the sudden industrialization, there is heavy rush of the people in the city, and which causes the changes in property value. So now we will take the example of Pune. There is continuous growth in the industrialization within the area of the Pune city. So here, day by day, the value of the property is increasing. So this is the main factor that is going to affect the value of the property. Next is forces of demand and supply. Very few buyers are compared to number of properties available for the sale in a particular area, which will result in low prices for the property and vice versa. So if the properties are less in the area and number of buyers are more, that time there will be increase in the price also. Next is cost of construction. Current cost of construction affects value due to the rapid change of price index in comparison with the rate of depreciation. Means with the rate of depreciation, there is rapid change in the price of the uh, property. Next is change in age distribution of population. The changes in age distribution of population of area may also cause changes in the values of property. For example, the age group below 30 years population is major in particular area, then demand for flat is more for them in that area, which will increase the value of the property. Now, if you consider the Pune city, in Pune city also, due to the industrialization, the more graduate number are reaching to the Pune for the different types of job opportunities. So, as the uh, population below age 30 is more in Pune area, it is going to increase the value of the property in Pune area. Next is sudden changes in price of building material. This is the main reasons nowadays the building materials are lesser available, as natural sand and bricks are getting very rare. In such cases, the artificial material is getting very expensive. So the violent fluctuation in the price of the building material causes the changes in the value of the building. Next is a Rent Restriction Act. The value of property is calculated from its probable annual income through rents. And so, due to certain enactment of Rent Restriction Act by government, it may cause a slump in the property value. Next is improvement in the amenities. By improving amenities and public schemes like sewer lines, water lines, means of transportation, etc., in particular area, it will make that area more attractive, and hence its value is going to increase. Next factor that is going to affect the value of the property is interest on scheduled banks or government securities. By lowering of scheduled bank interest or government securing higher may be interest for making more money available for investment in property and vice versa. Next point is unstable time. Due to uncertainty in the economy of country, the real property or real estate market will get totally lower down. Like current condition of the pandemic, that is coronavirus outbreak, such type of pandemic condition has lowered down the total economic growth of the country, so it is also going to affect the real estate market very much largely. So this can be considered as the unstable time. Next is abnormal condition. Due to insecure conditions like riots, war trends, etc., the value may drop and remain so for a considerable period. Right now, we can also say that this is the abnormal condition of corona outbreak. That is, we are under the lockdown and entire industry is on the standby. So in current situation, we can consider that the value of the real estate or the value of the property is rapidly decreasing in Pune and Mumbai area. So these are some factors which are going to affect the value of the property. So now we will see the types of values. Now there are different types of values. So some questions are also asked on this point. So, what are three differences between the following? That is scrap value, salvage value, capitalized value, book value, sentimental value, distress value, salvage value, or scrap value. So, next is defining the market value, book value, distressed value. Then explain the following with example distress value. That is you have to write a short note on the types of the values. Next question asked was what are different types of values? Explain market value and any other five factors affecting the market value. Next question is the difference between monopoly value, sentimental value, salvage value, and sentimental value. So all these questions are asked on some specific types of values, and these are the values which are generally used in the construction industry. So now we will see the different types of values. Let me correct this slide. Okay, these are some types of values, that is market value, book value, salvage value, scrap value, distressed value, sentimental value, accommodation value, then annual value, goodwill value, highest and best use value, liquidation value, monopoly value, potential value, rateable value, replacement value, assessed value, speculative value, and last is capitalized value. So these are different types of the values which which are considered during the valuation process. So when valuation is considered, first we will go through the first type, market value. Market value is at which it can be sold in open market at a particular time. Open market means the property is offered for sale by advertising in daily newspaper, and all necessary steps are taken so every person who desires to purchase property can involve in it. Next is book value. It is defined as an amount shown in the account book of particular year after making due provisions for the depreciation of the previous years. The book value of property depends on depreciation allowed per year and it is not affected by market condition. Next is salvage value. It is estimated value of built up property at the end of its useful life without being broken into pieces or dismantled. This is calculated by deducting depreciation from its new cost. For example, the sleepers used on the railway track may be reused as the post of the fencing. So, this is considered the salvage value of the sleepers. Next is scrap value. At the end of periods of usefulness, a property is discarded and then it can be scrapped off or broken into suitable units for disposal. The amount obtained by selling such units known as scrap value of property or junk value or demolition value. Scrap value is normally 10% of original cost or sometimes it may be zero also. Usually, scrap value of RCC structure will be less than corresponding timber structure. For example, building is demolished after its utility period is over. Then some amount obtains by selling old materials. Such amount is known as scrap value of that building. Next is distressed value. In case of property is sold at a lower price than the market value at that time, it is said to have the distressed value. The distressed value developed due to various reasons like fear of wars, riots, earthquakes, floods, etc. Or sometimes financial difficulties of the seller or insufficient knowledge of seller also causes the distressed value of the property. Next is sentimental value. When property is sold or purchased at higher value than market value due to its playing of sentiments in the mind of the owner, this is called the sentimental value. It has no relation with the market value of nearby properties. As a feeling of honor, it is attached to the property. Hence, a fancy price is required to be offered for the property. That's why this value is called as sentimental value. Next is accommodation value. As the city or town develops, the surrounding agricultural area is to be converted into the accommodation land. For this purpose, the owner of the lands has to obtain the permission from competent authority to convert his agricultural land into non-agricultural land or accommodation land. Such value of accommodation land is greater than that of agricultural land and less than that of the building land. Next is annual value. The local authority has to decide the annual value of the property so that the taxes can be calculated on that basis. Next is goodwill value. This value represents the amount by which the value of business premises in its present forms exceeds the value of physical or other assets determined at the market price. Next is highest and best use value. Uh, this value regulated from the most probable use of the property, which is physically possible, approximately justified, legally permissible, and financially feasible. Next is liquidation value. It is defined as an amount that can be realized from the property of a concern which sold under forced circumstances or by the sale of an enterprise on dissolution. Next is monopoly value. In some cases, the property possesses certain advantages with respect to the adjoining properties due to its size, shape, frontage, location, etc. The owner of such property may demand huge price for that property. Such price is known as monopoly value of the property. Next is potential value. When property is capable of getting more return due to its alternative use or by advantage because the purchaser will try to buy property at low price and to sell it at high price in the future. And last is capitalized value. It is some amount, uh, the interest on which